Welcome back to my channel. We're only a few weeks out from 2025 and I love year-end planning so much just in general. I've been spending the last couple of weeks organizing everything on my iPad layout, setting my vision board as my wallpaper. I just came out with the 2025 version of my budget template, so I've been spending some time setting that all up and making sure my money's all organized for 2025. So that is why I wanted to film this video today. I'm going to give you 7 steps that I've been doing and that you can do to get your money all organized and feel really good about your money going into 2025. This is going to be your little year-end financial checklist because I think it's really important to go into a new year feeling really good about your money and feeling really empowered to manage your money next year. So in this video, I'm going to help you do that. Like I said, there are 7 total steps that we're going to talk through today, and to make everything easier and help you actually take action on these when you're done watching this video, I made a little year-end financial checklist that you can download for free. I'm going to put that in the description of this video. So again, when you're done watching the video, make sure to download the checklist and take action on all of the things we're going to talk about. By the end of this video, you will have reviewed all of your 2024 financial information, so all of your expenses, progress on your financial goals, all of that good stuff. We're going to talk about trimming our expenses before the new year, how to start building better money habits now so that you feel prepared going into 2025. We're going to build our 2025 budget in this video, and then last, I'm going to show you how to automate literally everything so that in 2025 you don't have to spend more than like 10 minutes a week on your money. I'm super excited to talk through everything in this video, so let's get right into it. The first step in our year-end financial checklist is to review your 2024 expenses. I feel like most of the time when people try to get their money organized, they always skip over right to the budget portion. They want to create a budget and start sticking to a budget, but it's really hard to jump right into creating a budget when you have no idea what you're currently spending or what you've been spending. Most people, if you've never tracked your spending before, you have no idea how much money you're spending or what you spend your money on. Like I would say 99% of people can't answer the question of how much money did I spend on groceries this month? How much did I make versus how much did I spend last month? It's really hard to jump into creating a budget for 2025 if you have no idea where your money went in 2024. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. We are in the 2025 version of my budget template, and I want to show you how I would go through this entire process if I've never tracked my expenses before and I want to get a really good idea of how much money I have been spending. I use this template to talk through all the different steps in this video, but since we're talking about our 2024 transactions and then also our 2025 transactions, I'm going to use 2 separate copies of the template. Download this budget template. You basically get access to make as many fresh copies as you want to. So if I were you and you wanted to start tracking your 2024 expenses, I would make 2 copies of the template. Start with your 2024 information, use that to kind of like practice the budgeting process almost, and make a fresh copy for 2025, and that's what we're going to do in this video. This is what it looks like as soon as you download it, and we're going to go through the process of how I would start tracking my expenses for 2024. This is assuming that you've never tracked your expenses before or you don't really have good habits around tracking your expenses, so you want to get a good idea of how much money you've been spending. I tell people when I meet with them one-on-one or when I help them with their budget that a good rule of thumb is to go back to the last full month worth of transactions and log all of the transactions for the entire month. Now we're in December. I'm going to go into my credit card and my bank account and log all of the transactions for the entire month of November. To do that, we're going to go into the monthly tab. So we'll go into November, and this is the transactions log where you start logging all of your transactions. So again, on my phone, I'm going to pull up my credit card app and then also my bank account app, start with whichever one, and literally just go through the transactions and log them. So if my credit card app says that I spent $45 on groceries and then I got gas and I spent $25. Since you're doing this for the entire month, you really don't have to worry about the date here. Just list all of your transactions and you'll start to see your different categories. As you're going through your transactions, you might realize that there's some subcategories that aren't already currently pre-populated into this template. So you're going to want to add those. To do that, you're going to come into the budget setup tab, and this is the tab where you're creating your budget. So you're also creating your budget categories in this tab. I'm not gonna worry just yet about editing any of the numbers because that's what we're going to do when we go to create our budget. What we can do is we can edit all of these categories here so that the categories populate in the monthly tabs. What I mean by this is as you're going through your November transactions, let's say you spend $35 on parking and you come down here and you're like, okay, well that was a want, but I don't see a parking category and I do spend a lot of money on parking or like Uber rides, so I think I need a transportation category in my budget. You can come over here into the budget setup category, go down to wants, and you can list transportation in the category. So now when you go over to wants, under subcategory transportation will populate. So what you're doing is, as you're kind of going through all of your transactions for the month, you're also taking note of which subcategories would make sense for your budget. I just added a few more sample transactions so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about here. But essentially, as you go through this, you'll probably end up with like 50 some transactions throughout the month. And what this does is it allows you to comb through all the transactions and be like, wow, I spent $500 on groceries in the month of November, or I didn't realize how all of those little trips to Target are actually adding up and a lot of money is kind of being like wasted in my budget because of that. You might realize that you have a couple different monthly subscriptions that you forgot you even had and you want to cancel those. It makes you list everything out so you can see the totals in each of the categories. After you're done logging all of your individual transactions, you'll want to use the rest of this tab just to kind of look at all of the totals. Again, since we're not creating our budget yet, you don't have to pay attention to any of these columns, so the expected columns, because that's going to be your budget columns. What you're going to want to look at is all of the actual columns. So here, down here is the needs and the wants, so you can look at here and here, and you'll just come down here and be like, okay, I spent $2,300 this month on rent. I spent $167 this month on groceries. Just kind of like take note of how much money you spent in the month of November. Doing this process for 1 month, I feel like is a really good exercise on its own, but I also think you can get a lot more accurate of a picture of how you spend your money if you do it for multiple months. If you do really want to get into it and you want to do it for multiple months, repeat this process for October and September. You're already going to have your categories listed in the budget setup tab, so just go through and repeat the process. Each month, logging all of your transactions and reflecting on them will probably take you like no more than 20 minutes each. At the end of the day, you're only really dedicating like an hour to logging your transactions, and you're gonna have 3 full months of data to be able to see how much money you spent. Step number 2 in our year-end financial checklist is, after you have already combed through all of your expenses, at least for the, you're going to use that information to trim your expenses and simplify your finances before going into 2025. I just did this for both my personal finances and my business finances this week, and it honestly felt so good because, again, I was going through all of my credit card statements and my bank account statements and looking at my expenses, being like, which of these expenses don't feel good to me? Which of these make me like cringe at how I've been spending my money? And then for a lot of the recurring transactions, so monthly subscriptions, annual fees that are going to be hit, I can take action right then and there and cancel all of them to simplify everything. This step is also a really good time to simplify all of your financial accounts. So just like we're simplifying a lot of our expenses, we're also simplifying all of the accounts that we're spending money and saving money in. So for example, when you were logging all of your transactions, did you have to pull up multiple credit cards to get all of your spend accounts? Or when you're thinking about where you save money, are you saving money in a bunch of different accounts? Like, are things just confusing right now? I do say this a lot, but it's a lot easier to build good money habits and like constantly check in on your money when you only really have 1 or 2 accounts to check on a weekly basis. So in my opinion, I think it's easiest to keep everything with 1 credit card. If you're spending on a credit card, obviously you don't have to spend on a credit card if you can't manage that and you're going to potentially get yourself into credit card. But if you are spending on a credit card, keep it to 1 credit card. And then on the bank account side, get 1 bank account that has both your checking and your savings, and make sure it's a bank that the savings option is a high yield savings account so that you're actually earning money on the money that you're saving. For a good bank account option that checks off all of those boxes, I personally use SoFi checking and saving. I really like them because they have a great high yield savings account. Their high yield savings account lets you split up your savings into buckets. So when we're talking about the financial goals section in this video, I'll be showing you my SoFi savings account and how I organize all of my different savings goals. It's a high yield savings account, so I'm earning money on the money that I'm saving. I have both a checking and a savings account with them, so my direct deposit goes into the checking account portion and set up automation so that I don't have to remember to physically save the money every month. It also has a bunch of tools right in their app like spending insights, and then there's also a net worth tracker, which we're going to talk about in this video as well. So all around, if you're looking for one good bank account to keep all of your money organized, I personally really like SoFi. Step 3 is reviewing our progress on all of our financial goals. So this is going to be the step where we are reviewing all of our different financial accounts. There's a ton of different ways to do this. You could get out a piece of paper and write down all of your accounts with all of the current balances, but I personally personally like using a net worth tracker tool because at the end of the day, our debt, our savings, and our investments, so all of our financial goals, that's what's going to make up our total net worth. So it's really nice to use a net worth tracker and get a really clear cut, like in real time picture of what all of your balances are and what your net worth is. Like I said, I use SoFi as my checking and savings account, and what I really like about SoFi is that they have a free net worth tracker right in their app. I'm on the desktop version right now, but literally just on your phone or on your computer, you can link all of your external bank accounts and get a really clear picture of what your net worth is. Here's what the main page looks like. You can see here what your current net worth is, and then you get a breakdown of what makes up your net worth. So here you're going to see all of your cash. So between your checking and your savings account, how much money you have in cash. Your investments. So if you link all of your investment accounts like your 401k, if you invest in a Roth IRA, anything like that, that's going to make up your investment portfolio. And then on the liability side, you're going to see all of your debt. So if you link your credit cards, if you link your auto loan, your student loan, you'll be able to see cash plus investments minus all of your debt. That's going to make up your net worth. You can click in here and say view all accounts to be able to see all of your different accounts. So what makes up your net worth. So as you can see, I have 41,000 in cash. That's between my checking and my savings accounts. These are my current credit card balances. I pay my credit cards off in full every month, but these are just like the current balances on my cards right now. And then I have my entire investment portfolio here as well. So I have my solo 401k, my brokerage account, my Roth IRA, and then my old 401k from my old employer. What's nice about doing this and kind of like getting a grasp on all of your different accounts is it really helps you set your financial goals for next year. So you can come in here and be like, okay, this is currently how much money I have in my emergency fund. What would I like my emergency fund to look like next year? Do I need to increase it at all? You can come in here and be like, oh, my debt has gone down a lot in 2024, but I really want to make debt payoff a priority in 2025 as well. You can kind of just get a good clear-cut picture on which of your financial goals you should be focusing on. Step number 4 in our year-end financial checklist is to start the process of building good money habits right now. I say this all the time, but being good with your money is like very, very little about learning the concepts and becoming financially literate, and it's way more about being financially disciplined. What money habits do you have day to day? Are you impulse spending? Do you know how much money you spend? Do you know where your money's going? It's like 10 to 20% about learning the concepts and 80 to 90% about being financially disciplined every single day. If you've been following me, then you know for me personally, my money habits look like sitting down every single week and tracking all of my spending. It's my weekly money routine, and every single week on Monday morning, I sit down for 10 minutes and I track all of the expenses that I incurred the week before into my budget template. What this does is it forces me to look at all of my accounts on a weekly basis. It forces me to pull up my credit card and my bank account every single week. And through that process of pulling up my credit card, seeing how much money I spent, logging it into my template, I'm really getting to hold myself accountable in real time for all of the purchases that I'm making. So in step 1, we went back in time and we tracked all of our expenses for the last couple of months, which was great. But moving forward, we need to get into the habit of doing it more in real time so that we can change our spending habits more frequently. For example, if on a Monday morning I sit down and I log all of my transactions for last week, I log that I spent $200 at the mall, or I log that I spent $100 going out to the bar with my friend. That makes me see in real time that, okay, it's only a third of the way through the month, but I'm already over my shopping budget for the month. We're only a third of the way through the month, and I've been spending a lot of money on groceries this month, so I know I need to kind of cut back for the rest of the month. Checking in on your finances once a week is going to be way more impactful for changing your spending behavior rather than waiting until the end of the month, logging all of your expenses and being like, oh my gosh, I totally blew my budget this month, try again next month. I said we only have a couple of weeks until the end of the year, so you have a couple of weeks to kind of like practice doing that and really building the habit now. So when we do get to 2025 and you do make a new copy of the template, you make your budget, you're going to feel really motivated to stick to it because you've already built those habits. Step number 5 is definitely the fun part. This is where we actually get to create our budget for 2025. So like I said at the beginning of this video, the template that we were working through to like log our 2024 expenses, we're gonna make a second copy of the template for 2025 so that we can like completely start fresh, because the last couple of months of the template are going to have all of your 2024 data into it. So we want to make a fresh copy so that you can log 12 months worth of expenses in 2025. The monthly budget planner tab of the template, and this is the spot where you can kind of like play around with the numbers and set up a budget that makes sense for you. And so I came in and I created sort of like a sample budget so that you can see exactly how this works. Essentially, you're going to come in here and just start listing basically like what you earn and then about how much you want to spend in each category. This tab is just kind of like an overarching average of like, on average, I earn about this much per month. I spend about this much per month. Don't get into the weeds of like, well, 1 month I'm going to spend more because of this, because the budget setup tab is where we're going to actually put in all of that monthly data and actually create our budget every single month. Planner tab is really just to get us started so that we can sort of see like, on average, we earn this much, we spend this much, and we should have about this much left over to save. You don't have to use this planner tab at all. You can get right into the budget setup tab if you like that. I personally just really like to be able to see like all in one tab, like, okay, if I earn this much and I spend this much, this is how much I would have left over. So I came in here and I said that on average my salary would be $4,000 and I would earn about $500 a month babysitting. In some sample needs categories, again, since you went through the process of tracking all of your expenses, you would know what categories you would need in your budget, so you don't have to use these exact ones. You can create your own. For needs, I put some things like rent, utilities, groceries, gas, insurance. You could have things like phone bill, Wi-Fi, and list the amounts here for that. Listed some wants categories like restaurants, shopping, fitness. Under debt payments, I listed a car payment and a student loan payment. This could also be if you're in credit card debt and you're trying to pay off credit card debt, you could list that here as well. Say credit card payment, and let's say your goal is to put $200 a month toward your credit card payment. You spend on a credit card just for your like monthly expenses, but you pay it off in full every month. You don't have to list your credit card payment here because you're paying it off in full every month and you're logging those transactions individually. So the only time you would list a credit card payment here is if you're in credit card debt. We're going through creating our budget. Step number 6 of our year-end financial checklist also kind of plays into this because step number 6 is creating our financial goals. Financial goals are going to be the debt, savings, and the investments portion of your budget. You're going through this process, you can come down here and say, okay, I have on average about $500 left every single month if I stick to this budget. So where am I going to allocate that money? Is it my goal to beef up my emergency fund this year? Is it my goal to invest more into my Roth IRA this year? Allocate the numbers here, and as you do that, you'll see this amount left over is going to keep dwindling down until you get to zero. If you do have $55 left, let's say you wanted to add a car fund to start saving for a new car and you're going to do $55 a month. So the goal is to set all of your financial goals until you get this amount left down to zero. Now to finalize steps 5 and 6 after you've kind of worked through the planner, we're going to use the budget setup tab to actually create our budget for each individual month. Since your budget can obviously change a little bit every single month, I wanted to give you guys a space to be able to kind of reflect that in your budget. So we're going to take the information from the budget planner, we're going to populate it into the budget setup tab, and then we can kind of adjust things monthly. I would just come down here and I would copy this and I would copy that, and then you can also copy this and copy that in there. I copied all of our subcategories over and then also all of the numbers into the January columns. See what your budget looks like for the month of January. You can use this annual budget setup overview to kind of see like an overview of everything. So again, overall your income would come to $4,500, and here's kind of the breakdown of what you're budgeting for, where you want that money to go. Entered all of that information into the budget setup tab. Now when you go over to January, you'll see all of your expected columns are populated with that information. So the cash flow summary, your planned, this will be the exact same amount of money as this. All of these like income summary breakdowns, debt payment summary breakdowns, all of the expected columns are going to have the information populated from the budget setup tab. So these are going to be your budget. You'll see all of the actual columns are blank, and that's because the actual columns again are populating from the transactions log. So once you actually do get into January and you start logging all of your transactions, you'll be able to see really clearly, okay, what did I budget for this month? And then what did I actually spend? And as you go throughout the year, you can obviously continue making your budgets for the other months. A lot of categories are going to stay exactly the same with little variances here and there by month. So get into the summer months if you want to increase your restaurant spend category. You're gonna get a bonus in February, then your income budget for February would be a little bit higher and things like that. Now, step number 7 of our year-end financial checklist is to automate as much of our financial life as possible. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm going to teach you how to automate so much of your financial life that it really only takes you like 10 minutes every week to log your transactions, and that's all you have to do. I personally have automation set up for debt, savings, and investments, so all of the kind of like financial goals portions of my budget, meaning that my credit cards are set up on auto pay, meaning that I have automation set up to transfer money from my checking into my high yield savings account so that I don't have to remember to save money every month. And then also automation set up for my investments so that I don't have to remember to invest my money every month. I'm going to show you how to do all 3 because it actually is very simple. First, for automating your debt payoff, this one I can't like show you because it's going to look different depending on what all of your accounts are, but any debt that you do have, that can be automated to pay it off. So obviously if you have a car loan, your monthly payments are probably on auto pay. If you have a student loan, those monthly payments are probably on auto pay. You can adjust those payments. So let's say your student loan is $400 a month, but you actually want to pay $450 a month to pay it off faster. You can go into your student loan account and increase the amount of money that you're paying toward your student loan every month, have that automated so that you don't have to think about it. As for paying off your credit card, so first, in a situation where you're using your credit card just for regular everyday expenses, like you're not in credit card debt, you can go into your credit card app and set it up to pay the entire statement balance on the statement due date. Then last, I'm going to show you step by step how to automate both your savings and your investments. So the first step in doing this is figuring out exactly how much you want to save and how much you want to invest every single month, which is what we were doing in steps 5 and 6. So we're back onto our monthly budget planner tab. If you started here, and under your savings and your investments goals, this is where you are mapping out exactly how much you want to save and how much you want to invest in all of your different categories every month. Take this for example. On the savings side, I said that I wanted to save $350 every single month into my emergency fund. I'll show you how to automate that. We're back into my SoFi checking and savings account, and I'm going to go into the banking section. Before we set up automatic savings, we're going to set up our different vaults or our buckets so that we can save for very specific savings goals as we mapped out in our budget planner. So we're going to go into savings. You can see all of the vaults that I currently have set up, but you can set up your own for whatever you want to save for. I've set our fun money, holidays, pet fund, and travel. Also really just to organize your money. So instead of just throwing a ton of money into your savings account every month without a clear purpose, you're splitting it up so that you know exactly what you're saving for. You come in here and it says, what are you saving for? You can say emergency fund. Say, how will you save money? I'm going to come up here and say, set up recurring transfers. And then I'm going to do that $350 amount because that's what we figured out in our monthly budget planner. You can pick which day of the month it goes. Emergency fund has been created. So then now coming back into the vaults, you can see that you have an emergency fund here, and every month on the first of the month, money is automatically going to go from your checking account into your emergency fund. This is really what it means to pay yourself first. Back to this main page in banking, there's a little autopilot section here. You can see all of your different automations. So if you need to edit anything or you just want to see like where the money is flowing and when, you can manage everything here and add new automations here as well. Last, I'm going to show you how to set up automatic investments. So if there's anything on the investment side of your budget and you want to get that automated so that you don't have to think about it and you don't have to remember to invest your money every month, I'm going to show you how to set that up. If you don't already have an investment account, you need an investment account provider. Personally, really like Betterment, especially for beginners. If you're overwhelmed with the whole investing thing and you want to utilize kind of like a robo-advisor platform to set up basically everything for you, I love Betterment for that. It's super easy to use. I'll show you how to set it up. Here I am inside of my Betterment account. I already have an account, so I can't show you how to set it up, but I already have one right on the home page. It's super easy to set up an account and it'll walk you through which account to set up and all of that. You can set up your Roth IRA through Betterment if that's the account that you decide is best for you. So once you're inside of your account, like a Roth IRA account, we're going to set up the automation, and it is super easy on Betterment. All you have to do is hit automate your savings. To set up your deposit, you pick which account the money is going to come from. So it's going to come from a checking account, to go into your investment account, so something like a Roth IRA account. The type is going to be a contribution. The frequency, you can do monthly, twice a week, every other week. We'll just do monthly for now on the first of the month, and then whatever amount you want to do. So if you want to do $250, review the deposit and hit submit, and there you go. Your investments are set up every single month. And why it's that easy on Betterment is because Betterment is a robo-advisor. So all you have to do is deposit the money and they invest the money for you automatically. Using an account provider that is not Betterment, it's not a robo-advisor. It's not that simple. You have to deposit the money and then you have to actually invest the money. So I do want to put that caveat there. In something like Vanguard, you can't just deposit the $150 or $250 every month. That would just be sitting there in cash. But what I like about Betterment is that you just deposit the money and they do everything for you. That's what it means to be kind of like a robo-advisor. And that is all for our year-end financial checklist. Like I said, I made this all into a freebie kind of like checklist document that you can print out or just like look at on your computer. I'll link that in the description, so definitely download that so that you can actually take action on all 7 of these steps that we talked about today. But hopefully this video was helpful to make you guys feel super prepared to manage your money in 2025.